Hello and welcome to the Detox Dudes. I'm your host, Josh Mason. This video is about suicide, okay? There was a recent article that came out that talked about how U.S. hotlines for mental illness have gone up 891%, okay? I knew this was going to happen. Congress knew this was going to happen. The president knew this was going to happen. It was discussed many times, and we're going to see it now. Okay, we're going to see an increase in, we already have, increase in suicides, increase in mental illness, in these phone calls to the hotlines. And personally, I've witnessed in my circle, a social circle on Facebook and Instagram, suicides popping up everywhere. Family members of, not my own family members, but people's family members and friends. A lot of new rest in peace posts and strange, just young deaths, okay? And it's because of the, because of what's going on in the world. It's obvious, right? I don't need to explain why it's happening. But in short, people have had a life that they lived and the rug got ripped out from underneath them. Now, the rug that got ripped out from underneath them was an external rug. Job, living situation, all of these different components to somebody's life, where they drive each day, where the stores they went to, the coffee shop, etc., etc. And the rug got ripped out from underneath them, and it was an external rug. Now, any individual who hasn't gone through a death phase in their life, an internal death, where this death feeling pervades your consciousness, this darkness, dark night of the soul will pervade your consciousness no matter what's happening on the outside world, okay? The outside world is this, no matter what happens, up or down, this internal world is death. Those individuals will recognize the illusion of having an external rug ripped out from underneath you. Granted, circumstances can absolutely be challenging and difficult, but in my opinion, an individual who will actually execute a suicide at this moment in time, who will carry through with that mission, is not recognizing the internal versus the external world, okay? There's no separation. The veil is cut thin, okay? And an individual will think of all of these things that were their life as now gone, finances, etc., and not realize the internal world that they still have. See, this body, this internal world, the game of golf is played the 6 inches in between your ears, they say, right? The game of life is played in this body, in this vessel, okay? And as soon as we think that the game of life is, we're trapped. And what I want to say is that, first of all, I spent almost 4 years thinking about and dwelling on and considering taking my own life, okay? Nearly 4 years of this space of consciousness. And at the worst, I literally had to stay alive each day. And at the very, very worst, some days I had to stay alive each hour, okay? When the internal world has been shattered and churned through and transformed through illness, through these gifts of shamanic initiation, through mercury poisoning, through chronic illness, Lyme disease, whatever you may have in this audience or you have gone through, the external world, some part of it cannot get to you. It can't penetrate into your depths of your being the way it can if you have never experienced this sort of death phase before, okay? And what I want to tell everybody out there who may be going through suicidal thoughts or tendencies or whatever, first of all, it's reasonable because life is bizarre right now, okay? There's almost like an excuse in the air. There's almost, you can feel it. There's an excuse in the air. There's a forgiveness, a permission to check out, whether it be suicide or drugs or gambling or whatever behaviors that you may have engaged with in the past that can kind of come back now in a way of permission. It's like, well, what do you mean? Nothing fucking matters. The world is closed. Literally, the world is closed, right? So people may have that permission somewhere in the ethers that they're feeling. And the crazy thing is just how obvious it is that this too shall pass, yet individuals are taking their lives, okay? An increase in the suicide rate and, of course, the hotline. And this too shall pass. See, this is just a phase, and all phases come to an end. And the phase has a purpose, a meaning, a greater gift here than what the naked eye can see. And to all of you spirits and souls out there, you must know that you are not just a human body. If an individual is going to take their own life, they 100% have to be caught in the human body, in the story of the human body and the mind. They could not understand the spirit of them and take their life at the same time. Because if you understand the spirit of you, you recognize a few things. Number one, that you are immortal, that your spirit will go on, okay? And number two, what you'll recognize is that if you were to take your own life, you'd have to do it all over again. When you connect to the spirit, when you connect to the divine frequencies, you will see that there's a karmic cycle. There's something that you have to do no matter what. It's like a mission, something you have to accomplish, something you have to complete, okay? And you were incarnated in this life in order to do so. And it entails all of the pain, all of the trials, all of the tribulations that you've gone through. And if you check out, you will have to do it again, except you'll have like a black star on your report. So it'll make it even harder the next time around. There's a blessing and a curse in recognizing that you are trapped. See, some people will say, oh my God, I'm trapped. I feel stuck in this lifetime. I have to get out of here. And it's like, to them, it's an escape. It's a way out. But when you recognize the higher mission of all of this, the higher purpose, God's intentions, you can see that actually you're trapped. What do I mean by that? Well, no matter what you do, no matter which way you turn, there's no way to avoid this pain body, this wound, this thing that you have, this dis-ease, this thing that you have to complete, that you have to transcend, that you have to transmute, alchemize, turning the crap into gold, right? And no matter what you do, no matter which way you slice it, no matter which way you turn, you're kind of in a corner. And most people would say, wow, that is really actually painful and really difficult. It's liberating. It's liberating. Because once you recognize that you're in a corner, no matter which way you go, you are brought to your truth. You are brought to all that really is. And you will be forced to incarnate, literally pull down your highest strengths from above you. See, this incarnation concept of like, we're not actually all fully here, right? You can tell when someone's really here in their body, the way they speak, the way they come across, right? In a conversation, the way they look at you, they're here. And then there's some people that look like they're literally floating around. And it's just a simple fact. It's true. This is what is happening on this planet. We're not all fully incarnated. In fact, there's something called a Saturn returns, which I'm, halfway. I'm almost 31, and wow, I am almost 31, and that'll be the completion of the Saturn returns, and that is, according to many traditions, the time when you fully incarnate, right? You can look at 18-year-olds and you can just tell they're not incarnated in full. And, athletes would probably be more in their bodies than other individuals because they're forced into this body through the extremity of their sport and their task at hand, right? So what you'll be presented with is this truth of who you are, and you'll be presented with an opportunity to truly bring down everything that is yours. Okay? Now, had I believed that I could check out and that taking my own life would be a legitimate option, I would have not brought all that I've brought into this body here on earth. And guess what? Now that I brought it here on earth, I will be able to travel with it after this lifetime. Whatever you bring down here and materialize and learn how to navigate and incarnate and own, you travel with at death. Okay? Death is like a launching pad. Wherever you are, everything you've done will reveal itself, and you'll be able to travel with the consciousness and the awareness that you have. So my message here is to offer a word of compassion to anybody in that space. Okay? I understand what it's like. I've been there for many, many years. And you need to understand, and I need you to understand, that there's no way out. And that your external rug that was ripped out from underneath you, it cannot kill you. It literally cannot kill you. If you took your own life, of course it could. But that's you killing you. Circumstances cannot kill you. Most. I guess some could, right? If you had cancer or if you were shot, that's a circumstance. It would kill you, right? But the losing of a job, or the being bored, or the being depressed, or all of these things that are circulating in your field, they can't kill you. And it is a time to clean this vessel out. We cannot connect to something higher when we are blocked and stuffed, plugged up with old crap and junk and toxicity. My mission remains as true as ever now, that the detoxification of this physical vessel that I've been preaching about for 4 years now is as important as ever for you to stay sane and in some sort of peace and center and vitality during this chaotic time. If you are stuck in this story down here, you must unplug the junk. Unplug the sewage tank and let this junk out. And you will watch as this consciousness vessel automatically plugs into something higher. Automatically. Doing the work will make it infinitely more powerful, but automatically you will plug into something like literally like a different radio station. Like you're attuned to this dark and hectic, life sucks like that. And then you start cleaning the vessel and it's literally like, zoop. Oh my God. Nature, plants, animals, love, etc., etc. Okay. Now is a time to clean the body massively. And this too shall pass. Guys, there's no amount of pain that can kill you. I would spend day upon day, night upon night, laying on the floor in utter sheer panic and terror I could not fathom. Back then in that phase, if I would have been told by some magical fairy that I could be where I'm at now, in my vessel, in my consciousness, in my clarity, I would have laughed in his face. Laughed in his face. In that fairy's face, okay? It was not a possibility in my field. It was not, but guess what? We don't really know. We don't really know what the fuck is going on. No matter how much pain you're in, you don't actually know when it's gonna end. It can end tomorrow. It can end next month. None of us knew this coronavirus thing was happening. Nobody. We didn't predict this. When you're in that shitstorm of pain, you have no idea how long it's gonna last. It could be a week, it could be a month, it could be a couple years. I can tell you one thing, it will pass. It's the law of nature. So if you take your own life, you're falling into the booby trap. You're falling into the trap, the illusion. Okay? So an ultimate compassion for you. If you're in these spaces, I get it. I truly have compassion. So that's what I got for you. Hope you enjoyed the show. See you next time.